So last time we talked, we were adding and subtracting like fractions. This time we're going to add and subtract unlike fractions, okay? And your learning target is I know how to add and subtract fractions that do not have a common denominator. Okay, and so the key concept here is it's pretty simple. The first thing we have to do is we have to find a common denominator and change all fractions when and if needed. The second thing, after we get a common denominator, is add and subtract the fractions now that they have a common denominator, just like we've been doing this whole time. Okay, and then the last thing is reduce if necessary. Okay, if we can reduce it to a smaller fraction, then we need to do that. All right, let's do it. It says find 1/3 plus 5/6. Okay, 1/3 plus 5/6. Now I know that 3 goes into to 6 as well, so I'm going to change this fraction in order to have a common denominator with this other fraction. So I know 1/3. In order to get that to 6, I'm going to have to multiply by 2. So I'm going to multiply by 2 on both sides, and I'm going to end up getting 2/6. Okay, 2/6. So now I can rewrite this fraction as 2/6 plus 5/6. Which is just going to be, with 6 on the denominator, 2 plus 5 is 7, so 7/6, which you can reduce down if you want to 1 1/6. Okay, and so your final answer then would be 7/6 or 1 1/6. Either one works, but that is 1/3 plus 5/6. Alright, that one was pretty basic, but let's get a one with a little bit more meat on it. We have negative 1/6 plus 1/2 minus 5/12. Alright, first, find the least common denominator. The least common denominator, we see 6 will go into 12, and 2 we know will also go into 12. So we're going to have to make each of these fractions into a common denominator of 12. So let's take negative 1/6. We have to set that equal to something over 12. So we have to multiply that by 2, because 6 times 2 will give me 12. Multiply that by 2, and that'll be 2. So we have, I'm going to rewrite this here. We have negative 2/12. We have to add that to 1/2. Okay, 1/2. If I want to get that to a denominator of 12, I know I'm going to have to multiply by 6. And so we get 6/12. And then we have to subtract out 5/12. Okay, so first step is we have to do what is inside the fractions first. Okay, so we have negative 2/12 plus 6/12. And so what I know that's going to be is I'm gonna go ahead and write this over here. We have negative 2/12 plus 6/12. And I guess I didn't really need that over here. But we know that's going to equal something with a common denominator, or a denominator of 12. And we're just going to take these numbers now and add them like we would any sort of integers. So we have negative 2 plus 6. Well, I know if I start at negative 2 on the number line and go over 6, that's going to equal 4/12. And normally I would reduce that, but we want to come back over here, and we're going to rewrite this as 4/12 minus 5/12. Okay, and that's going to equal, again, with a denominator of 12. We take 4, positive 4, and we're going to subtract out 5. Well, that's just negative 1. So we end up getting negative 1/12 as our fraction. So all of this whole thing right here, this whole thing equals negative 1/12. Example here, example 3, it says Hannah needed to cut a photo to make it shorter so it would fit in her picture frame. She cut 3/4 of an inch from the top, and she cuts 3/16 from the bottom. How much shorter did she make the picture altogether? So what we know here is that she cut 3/4 and 3/16, and we want to know how much that was total. So we know that needs to be adding then, 3/4 plus 3/16. How much did we totally take off? So first thing we need to do is create a common denominator. We know that 4 will go into 16. So we come over here, and I'm sorry, I noticed that I ran out of room up here. That's my fault. we have to multiply that by 4 and that by 4 in order to get 16 on the bottom and 12. So it'll be 12 sixteenths. So we're going to take this fraction now. We're going to write 12 sixteenths plus 3 sixteenths. That's a toughie. 12 plus 3, 15. So, how much shorter did she make the picture frame altogether, or the picture altogether was 15 sixteenths of an inch. Almost a full inch. I guess I could just put an inch there. And that is how you solve fractions without a common denominator. Have fun.